Newsday Tuesday, and we are live. I'm your host, Go Rome, the Rome Show podcast. News updates with my friend Len. How you doing, Len?
I'm doing great, Rome. How are you? Good morning.
Doing good. Good morning.
Yeah, we're on a morning podcast here. That's what we've got now. I got the sun shining in. Eventually, when the weather gets good, maybe I'll get outside and do one of these for you. That'd be fun, huh?
Yeah, it's cold. It's cold.
Yeah, I think there is no question. Everyone in Connecticut is at the point of, okay, you're not going to give me snow. Let's go with the warm weather because this is getting a little silly. I think we're in late April. Today is 1 month into spring, and I think it's going to hit 50 today. Um, it doesn't matter when this airs because we're in this pattern, I think, for another 5 to 7 days. Just for fodder, the average high right now is 63, and today it is going to be 50.
Chilly.
When I woke up this morning, our first floor was 59 degrees. We've got the heat on very low, if at all. I think maybe we have it on the zone up here, but I don't even know if we have it downstairs. So if you hear my dogs barking, maybe that's why they're cold. Just kidding. They're fine. Um, but yeah, a lot of chilly weather. But it's ending. So we're going this way. So we'll be fine.
Yeah. Back to the weather it was last week. It was like summer last week.
And so perfect segue into the fun stuff. Talk about entertainment. What did my wife and I do when it was 17, 80 degrees in north central Connecticut? We said, let's go to Salem, Massachusetts, where it's 50 and foggy and cold and windy. Because that's what you do in New England, right?
Right.
So for my fun stuff, I'm separating I'm substituting instead of a movie or a TV show. My entertainment last weekend was we went to Salem, Massachusetts. For anyone who knows anything about New England, you know that Salem is famous for the witches and the witch trials that took place there in, I believe it was 1692. We went through one of the exhibits when we were there, an outdoor exhibit where they show, all the people that were burned at the stake. Uh, I think they were burned at the stake. Or one guy had stones piled on him. It was crazy. Um, Very, very interesting and a really neat place to visit. We stayed in an inn that was built in 1650 or something crazy
Wow.
like that. Yeah, it was neat. And they said there were ghosts, but I'm sitting here now, so if there were ghosts, I survived the ghosts. It was
That's
fun.
crazy.
It was fun. So yeah, so that's my entertainment for the weekend. I highly recommend you get out to Salem, Massachusetts if you haven't seen it. It's a fun, fun place to go.
Yeah.
What do you
And
got,
they said
Rome?
that there was ghost in the inn that you were in.
Yeah, yeah. They said there were ghosts in the inn that we stayed for 2 nights. I can send you another picture. I sent you a few photos with my script today. Um, there's a photo of me standing in front of these paintings in our room that were really scary looking. Like one was these people trying to like beat up this guy who was stealing grapes from somebody's trellis. And I'm standing in front of that photo. I'll send you that one. It's like there were
Uh,
weird photos in there. I mean, not photos, but paintings and stuff. But it was cool. Lots of antiques. Just a neat place. I highly recommend it. So that's
Interesting.
my substitute for a TV show this weekend. I was out walking around looking at things. Great architecture too in Salem.
Nice, nice. Well, what I got for my food dish is not food. It's actually a snack, which is donuts. Had my last two donuts on Sunday. Got to take a big break from them.
Gosh, I love donuts. That's like one of my kryptonites. What kind of donuts, Rome?
I like not the donuts with all that stuff on it. They nowadays they got like donuts with like cookies and stuff on it. I like the old classic donuts, sprinkles, old fashioned donut.
Hmm. Yeah. My favorite is just you know, chocolate or vanilla donut with icing. That's it. And some jimmies or sprinkles, whatever you call them. The designer donuts are fun, but that's like a meal. Those things are huge.
Yeah,
They're great. They're great. Don't get me wrong. And then of course there's the classic Dippin' Dunkin' Donut where
yeah,
there's no flavor on it and it just takes the flavor of your coffee. Uh, okay, that's legit. I'll never debate donuts for your favorite meal. Um, for me, it again is thematic. I was in Salem, Massachusetts, so our daughters we were visiting our daughter who lives in that area, and her boyfriend has for years been telling me you gotta try the North Shore roast beef, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm from New York originally. I've lived in New England more of my life, but more in Connecticut. But I've never heard of North Shore roast beef in Boston. Yet, this is a thing. Um, it's rare roast beef with mayonnaise, and a lot of people don't like mayonnaise, so there's that. But I'm fine with it. And this particular kind of barbecue sauce, I can't remember the name of it. Um,
ooh,
it's made by Smithfields, though, out of North Carolina, and just on a regular bun. I think there might be one or two other ingredients, and it is a thing up in the North Shore of Boston. There are stores that say we've got roast beef sandwiches, and you're like, well, yeah, sure, but these are North Shore roast beef sandwiches. And I sent you some pictures. I mean, it's a lot of meat. It's very rare. That's the thing. It's rare roast beef, and it was delicious. It was so good. If you haven't experienced North Shore Boston roast beef, you need to do it. And kudos to our daughter's boyfriend, Colin, who, stayed on me on this one. He's like, you got to try it. And it was good. Have you ever had anything like that? Because I had not.
no, I gotta try it, but that sounds like my style with the sauce, the
Hmm.
mayonnaise with the barbecue sauce.
I did notice Rome. As soon as I said the barbecue sauce, like you got a little interested there.
Yeah, that had to be good.
Ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Nice. But my movie of the week is it's kind of old. Green Lantern came out in 2011.
Yeah, I've heard that. Are they doing a sequel or a remake, or was that a remake? I know I've heard about Green Lantern, obviously from way back, but
Yeah, I think they are doing another one, but the one that I like is my favorite is like the original movie. But they do have like a TV show.
all right, so it's like a franchise. Who was in the movie? Was anybody big name?
Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's a big
Yeah,
name. He's the guy with the soccer, right? He bought the soccer team, Wrexham. Is that the same guy? I think it is.
yeah,
I should
he's a
know
big
these
actor.
things. Yeah, I'm a soccer guy, so I should know that, but I don't. So yeah, my entertainment was Salem, Massachusetts. So I'm gonna go to the last of the fun stuff, and this is highly predictable. Um, favorite sports thing of the week. Um, this is what I was wearing before I came on your show. You know, my guys, Giants.
Giants. Yep.
Yeah, my knit hat. Yeah. Um, the Giants are having a very good off season. We got a new head coach, and unfortunately, our defensive star did not want to stay for the rebuild. And I get it, it's business, whatever. We got an amazing trade for him this week. So now we have two picks in the top 10 in the NFL draft, which is this Thursday. And that is my sports thing in the week. I will be locked on that show,
Nice.
watching what could dictate the future of the Giants in a good way or a bad way. We'll see. How about you?
Me is the WPBA, the
The,
Pool Professional League.
so the it's the professional pool league like billiards.
Yeah, and they're just trying to get it to like the NBA, NFL, MLB status. It's just
Y-
growing and growing.
Wow. Well, I mean, it's a game everyone plays, or a lot of people play. Um, And where do you watch it?
It's not like ESPN. You can get it on like streaming apps, but
Mhm.
definitely ESPN.
Now, when you play pool, do you personally, Rome, do you do betting and wagering, or are you just more playing for fun?
I play for fun, but it's good to play. I like
Oh
playing.
yeah. No, good indoor sport. Getting back to our theme here today of we're freezing our butts off in New England. Um, Not a good day to be outside. You could be inside playing pool. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
So that's my sports of the week.
All right, that's good stuff. Well, we got a lot to be excited for coming up. Um, my question is the billiards or the pool on ESPN the Ocho?
I'm not sure.
That's my
I gotta
favorite
find out for you.
ESPN channel. Yeah, ESPN. They're funny folks. I think they just had some big anniversary this year last. And I don't know if you heard, we're NBC Connecticut. We're losing one of our sports people to ESPN. I don't know if that's out yet. So there, you got a little bit of a scoop. Don't tell anybody. I'm not going to say a name or anything like that. But
All right.
that's coming up. I don't want to blow the surprise. But I probably should do the news since I'm getting in trouble. I'm giving away news content that I shouldn't. That hasn't been out there yet. But let's go with the news content that we do have here. We got some pretty wild stories here to start off. A 44-year-old man from Coventry was recently arrested for pointing a handgun at a 9-year-old child, according to police. They were called to the area of Armstrong Road after getting reports of this. When they arrived, the man was uncooperative and argumentative with officers. He eventually got taken into custody. The gun was recovered in the man's motorcycle saddlebag. Police say the man knew the 9-year-old kid, but they didn't get into the details of their relationship. I think that one, it goes without saying, you don't go point a gun at a kid.
Yeah.
I guess in Len Besthoff's version of common sense news. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are
It's crazy.
extenuating circumstances there.
It's crazy. Lots of stuff going on.
Yeah, we have great reporters at NBC Connecticut, and I'm sure that they're going to be trying to get some more information on that. So we'll see what they get. Another big story in Enfield. This is one I believe we've talked about a little bit. This is a very sad story about the untimely death of Eve Rogers. She was 12 years old, lived in Enfield, and she was found unresponsive and deceased in her home by her family, allegedly, according to police, on March 18th. They're still trying to dig in and get more information on this. And more information we're getting to the public now has to do with the search warrants that police applied for and had been executing to try to learn more about what happened to this poor little girl. And so NBC Connecticut broke the story yesterday about how new search warrants have been released in this case. Um, my colleague Melissa Cooney and I have been working on this story, and she was able to get the latest return search warrant. So the way it works, Rome, is a police officer will say to a judge, I want to go search a computer. I want to go search a phone. I want to go search a house. Here's my probable cause why I think this person, or there may be some criminal activity here. Will you sign this warrant? So the judge signs the warrant, and then the warrant's returned, or the judge doesn't sign the warrant, says there's not probable cause. But in this case, judge signs the warrant comes back to the courthouse, and then in many cases, the warrant is sealed for a period so that the investigators can do their work. The period of sealing ended for one of the warrants yesterday. And so NBC Connecticut acquired that warrant. And what it said is they're looking for through further electronics in this household. The latest thing they're looking at and trying to help them figure out clues in the untimely death of 12-year-old Eve Rogers is they want to look into a laptop and see if there's anything in there. And you can't just go look at that if you're a police officer. You have to actually get a warrant from a judge. So that is one of the items that has been seized from the Elm Street home in Enfield where this 12-year-old girl lived. Other things that they had gotten included a tablet and a cell phone. And they're going through electronics. They're coming up with clues, coming up with information. Certainly, there's going to be more on the Eve Rogers case going forward. And of course, if you have any information you think that NBC Connecticut should be digging on this, certainly hit me up on social. Let's end with some better news. These are tough stories. It's tough times, Rome.
Sad story.
Yeah. There's some big news in Connecticut coming regarding the rails and investments. I just saw something that the transportation secretary for the federal government is going to be announcing a big investment in railroads in Connecticut. And I mean, if you've ever traveled in other countries, you know that our rail network, while safe, is not necessarily the easiest to navigate. You can't get everywhere, and it's not cheap. We have a massive country, though. However, they are trying to do things to upgrade what we do have, and in fact, even augment it in some cases. That's, I think, some of the news that's going to be coming out this week. But some of the news we've got right now that we know of is that Amtrak is considering a plan to keep several railroad bridges along the shoreline closed for hours at a time this summer so they can do all these bridge fixes. And also to allow for increased rail service to Boston for the World Cup. So that's sort of the big thing going on here. We got a lot of repairs going on, but we got the World Cup. You might have heard the other headline about the World Cup that the prices are for those tickets. Rome, think I'll be watching on TV. But anyway, in terms of bridges in Connecticut that may be closed for hours at a time so they can, whip these people, up onto the rails and get them to these World Cup matches in Foxborough include the Niantic River Bridge in East Lyme, Shaw's Cove Railroad Bridge in New London, Thames River Railroad Bridge in New London, the Mystic River Railroad Bridge in Mystic. And this is going to happen in June/July. We reached out to Amtrak for comment on this, and Amtrak hasn't gotten back. So I guess you got to make some sacrifices if we're going to have the World Cup. We're going to be the focus of the world for a while here. And hopefully we do a good job. And hopefully go USA. Hopefully we do
Yeah.
well in the World Cup. I don't think our team is as competitive as it's been in years past, but we'll see.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. So that's all my news. I'm going to have to hop on the news trail. I do want to do one plug, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is a podcast we're doing that I'm not doing. I've been part of the coverage, but my fellow reporter Melissa Cooney and photographer Brian McIndoe have been working on this podcast about the Waterbury missing man called Decades Unseen. It is fabulous. They, I believe, just dropped episode 5. So give it a listen. It's just, you won't be able to stop listening. You're just going to binge all of them because it's really good. I mean, it's local news and in a real in-depth fashion. And it tells you some of the parts of this story, believe it or not, you probably haven't heard yet, even with all the exhaustive coverage. So there's my plug. So sorry, but I think, no, I'm not sorry because I
Yeah.
think you're going to enjoy it. It's really good. We always talk about what's the entertainment. I mean, not that something like this is entertainment, but it's really interesting, and I think it is something that you're going to enjoy listening to. So that's it. There's my pitch.
Go check out that podcast.
Yeah, check it out. Hopefully, when I speak with you next, the weather will be better. You can hear my dog maybe yelling or barking for me to go outside and run out in the cold with him. Her. Have a
Right.
great
Got to
week,
take care of the
Rome.
dog. You
Yes,
too.
I'm going to do it now. Going to do it now. Rome, have a great week, man. We'll see you
You
next
too.
week.
See you next week.
All right, peace out.
All right. Peace. there we are. That was this week's news updates with my friend Len Besthoff from NBC Connecticut. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like button, comment. If you want us to cover a story, talk about a story that's going on, feel free to contact me, comment on the video on YouTube, or you can contact me on social media at Go Rome TV. It's your boy Go Rome TV, the host and the producer, the Rome Show podcast. And I'm out. Hit that subscribe button. Peace.